Hello, welcome to our Women Today table discussion. Hello, welcome to our Women Today table talk. I'm excited because today is our part 2 of Born British, raised by African parents. I am super excited. Listen, the first episode we did was just amazing. So we are back by popular demand. We had people that were contacting us and said, listen, we want more of these. We want to hear more. We want to learn more. So today is so exciting for me because guess what? We decided to invite the mothers to come and join us. So I'm super excited. Today with me, I have my lovely girls. They were with us on our first part. I've got
Imani,
Anita,
Tani,
Tanisha,
Kim.
You know these girls, they were with us on our part 1, and today I decided to invite their mothers, well, some of the mothers actually. So I've got with me Pastor Sarah. Welcome, woman of God.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for joining us at our Women Today table talk. Listen, having a mother, and not just a mother, a woman of God joining us at this table talk means a lot. So thank you so much for joining us at our table talk. And I have got, again, Minister Catherine. Again, she's a mother and a sister. So thank you so much for joining us here at our Women Today table talk. I'm super excited. And thank you again, girls, for joining us again at our part 2. I'm super excited. So we are back here because when we were talking at our part 1 series, there's so many things that we spoke about. And I was so inspired because you were talking about, to be honest, I was actually expecting to hear more negative things. But then it was very good because we had so many positive things. Woman of God, what they were talking about were, how our parents really inspired us, to be who we are, how we appreciate our parents, the struggles that they went through. I remember Imani was talking about, and Tammy were talking about all of them and saying, look, hearing our mom's stories, how they were raised, it really inspires us, even though we were born in this country, but it does not change who we are. So that's why we decided to invite you. It's always good to hear from your, horse's mouth. So again, I'll start with you, Pastor Sarah. I'm sure you watched our first series, and I know your daughter was talking about how grateful I am for my mom, how she actually learned a lot of things, positive things from you as a mom. And so what do you think about that? I mean, you being a woman who was raised in Africa, but coming into the UK, you had to raise your daughter in this environment where it's completely different from how your mother raised you in Africa.
Thank you very much for such a time and opportunity.
Thank you.
Just to share our experiences. And first of all, I'd like to thank you, Anita, as well, for just saying things that are positive to us. It keeps encouraging us to know that you are saying something that is good to us. The way we were raised is actually different from when you come to this country and then you start seeing things happening here that is different from how we were raised. But I would honestly thank God because He's given me the grace to be able to handle things like I was raised differently in Africa, and coming here, the culture is totally different. So it's a learning curve. I am also learning to be a mother because I've never been a mother. Even though I was in Africa, I've never been a mother there. I started my motherhood in this country, but I am learning.
So
everything is also new to me. But I appreciate for their patience that they understand that I'm learning and we are all moving.
Yes. Honestly, I think you're right, because on our first series we were hearing, gratitude. I'm thankful. I'm so grateful. But again, we spoke about some few challenges again. So thank you, Pastor Said. I'll come to you, Sister Catherine. We were talking about few challenges that our young ones were facing. Especially one of the things that is still with me at the moment is the peer pressure. We spoke about peer pressure. They were saying, listen, peer pressure does exist. We at school, the fact that you're different or you look different, that's peer pressure on its own. There's some certain things that we want to wear, but then if I go and tell my mom that I want these kind of the goose jacket, or I want these, the first thing she tells me or he tells me, my dad is like, listen, you calculate the amount. This one I can feed Africa. If I send this money home, it's going to help my family. So, and they were talking about, look, now I don't want to feel guilty, to go and ask my parents. I now feel guilty to go and ask if I want this, because I'm going to be told, I need to send money to Africa. So what can you say about that, the peer pressure that our children were talking about as a mother?
Thank you so much again for inviting us.
Thank you for coming.
For me, like the peer pressure definitely is there. For myself, for me, like I came from Africa maybe at their age, so I can understand like both worlds really. So I can relate to what they're saying, but at the same time, I was born in Africa, so I know the struggles that Africa has. So you kind of feel like you are kind of like in two kind of worlds really, like you feel kind of you're split. You want to understand the children, you want to do everything they're asking of you. You can understand the pressure they're also feeling at school, but at the same time, I am as much as I am a mother, I'm also a daughter to my mother who's in Africa, who also needs my assistance. So it's a very difficult situation to be in as a mother in this country, because we are fighting against these two worlds again. So it is challenging. It's heartbreaking when you can't, as a mother, do everything that your kids are asking of you. It's very heartbreaking. And like, again, like I said, for me, coming from Africa at this age, I know what happens in these schools in this country. So it kind of makes you, understand like where they're coming from when they're asking of these things. And when you say, I'm sorry, but you're gonna have to wait. It's not a nice thing to be able to say to them.
Okay. Girls, I want you to jump in. Which is, you've been quiet for a while. We have the mothers here, so I want you to jump in. I want you to say some of the challenges that you're going through within the society that you want the mothers to understand. Because last time we were talking about, look, I want also my parents to understand that this is what I'm going through. You see, I understand you don't have the money, but I also want you to understand that when I'm at school, I'm seeing differently. If all my friends are wearing something, I definitely look different. But because of that, that can affect my confidence. So I want you to jump in. Who's going to start? The girls are intimidated by their parents today. No one is going to be in trouble. Yes, I'll let you start.
So I understand like what she was saying about, especially because she's experienced the schools here, so she knows and she understands. I feel like it is hard, like, maybe some peer pressures, like it might be as noticeable, some might be not as noticeable. But like maybe little things, maybe like, I don't know, wanting to get your hair done, or like maybe a jacket or something that you brought up before, so there's been like a lot of discussion about it. It can make you feel a bit more like confident, and like even though it's hard and you struggle a lot, like with peer pressure, it can maybe just make you feel comfortable, like in your own skin, and like where you've come from.
Okay, so you become also confident if you go to school wearing something that all your friends are also wearing. There's something that the confidence that comes with that. Yeah, Anita, I can see you nodding. You might want to jump in on that one.
I was gonna say because like I go to like a school where it's majority like white people. So like when you do go to a school like that, already all eyes are on you anyway. So I feel like when we do get those things, then it makes you feel like you blend in more.
Okay.
Or like when in primary, it was not like much of an issue, but now that I'm older, and you just want to like, you don't want to fit in, but you want to just like be a part of them,
Okay.
type of thing.
Yeah.
And you just don't want to be seen as like, oh, that girl who's, yeah.
Yeah, okay. And I like that. Speaking of, oh, that girl, Kim, jumping on that one. If picture yourself, obviously, you don't have that kind of a jacket. How does that make you feel? Because it's important that parents also understand how does that make you feel?
Before I say that, I want to say it's like sometimes it's not always an insecurity issue.
Okay.
It's just like wanting to make yourself feel secure. If
Okay.
that makes sense.
Okay.
Like,
Okay.
you don't want to feel like that type of person. Like Anita said, like already being black, you're already standing out. Like people already see you. So after you feel like you're even more judged.
Okay.
In that sort
Okay.
of way. So I'm kind of like blending in or like not looking scruffy or whatever. Like it makes you feel more put together and secure.
Wow. Okay. Okay. Do you want to say something?
Well, I was gonna say like basically what everyone said combined, because I was gonna say like how it's like how you stick out already, even though like sometimes you feel like you want to just like be behind, like not be noticed by anyone, or like, you know, not just to stick out, to be honest. And like what everyone said, it goes into them things as well, by our skin and by our culture, how it's different and how it makes like it just kind of sticks out. But it's not like a bad thing or anything, but you can just like you know when people think like, oh yeah, she's that girl, she's got, yeah, what Anita said basically.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. See, honestly, I really feel for you, girls, because Pastor Sarah and Minister Kathy, you would know that back in Africa, you just wear what's there, you know. And the thing is, we all looked the same, but in this country now, they looking at other people, or actually other people are looking at them, that they actually look different. I want you to jump in. What can you say to somebody, like, you know, you're hearing what the girls are saying, to say, okay, this is how I feel. And I know you're coming from a mother and also coming from being a woman of God. What can you say to them? Because they're saying, okay, this is what we feel. If I don't have this, I feel like this. But then they could be other parents who genuinely cannot afford it. You know, they genuinely they cannot afford it. But again, their children are actually suffering because the things that we tend to ignore, they're actually affecting our children. Yeah.
I think to start with, there should be communication between the parents and the children.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because comparing from where I come from, we were just bought our school stuff, like January was the beginning of the year. So like school term, I mean, so everything is being bought in January. So they buy you everything that you need for the whole year. So like we don't have a choice. Like they'll just bring you a jacket that they see that they can afford and everything. So there was no question about it. So when I came in this country now, like I'm starting to learn, like I said before, I'm starting to learn the culture as well, starting to learn like what my child will feel comfortable wearing, so that she can be a part of children. So there should be an understanding between the parent and the child. They should also understand that as much as they would want something, I am trying hard to bring in the things to provide for them. At times, when they want it, like in March, I might not be able to provide it in March. I'm only able to provide it in July. So there should be an understanding. There should be like a compromise between the parent and the child, and understanding each other as well. Like I'm also learning. You are also one day you will be a mother as well. You also, I think things might be different as well at that time that you are a parent. So it's just a matter of understanding and like maybe coming to a compromise to say, I will have it in March.
Yeah. I like what you said, because you said communication is key, which is very, very profound, because one thing that we do not do as African parents sometimes, because we're living in a society where it's so busy all the time, we are working all the time, we are frustrated all the time. So you imagine a mother or father coming from a night shift and your child is coming to you and say, this is what I need. We don't have time to listen, you know, and sometimes we don't listen in order for us to understand. So giving that time, and I like what you said, communication, sit down with your child, you know, understand where they're coming from. If you don't have money, sometimes you don't have to shout, you know, like, I don't have money, I am so tired, I'm doing night shifts. And I think sometimes when we do that, we are presenting a different case to our children by sitting them down and say, I understand my daughter, but this week or this month I'm paying this, but you know, in that month I'll be able to, you know, to pay something. I want you to jump in as well in terms of you know, you're hearing what they're saying. As a mother again, what can you say to your children? You know you don't have, you cannot afford, but here's your child saying, if I don't have, it's affecting my mental health, it's also affecting my confidence in school, you know, it's making me feel different from school. What can you do? Because the challenges are there and genuinely you don't have the money.
I think like what Pastor Sarah just said, like communication is key.
Yeah.
It is very important that like also as our children, like you come to us, because I think coming from Africa, we grew up in that environment where like your parents will be like, oh, come and tell me how you feel about things. It's just like as parents we just come and say, this is what we're doing, this is what we're doing for you, that's it. You don't ask any questions. And then you come in here. I know in school these kids are taught, you know, if you're going for some, come and speak to me, you know, tell me how you feel, that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
I think also as parents who are coming from Africa, we need to get to that point where we sit down with our children, but also children come to us to tell, because we can't just assume that they are okay. They can't also assume that we don't have time or we don't want to listen. So that communication is very, very important. And you know, like we say, we're always busy. Just grab that time as a child to say, Mom, I really need to speak to you. There's this situation. I know I've spoken about this jacket or whatever, but I really need you to just, you know, I need you to know why I really want this so much. And then they say how they feel to us. Because like I'm saying, many of us, we don't have that much time to be sitting down and listening. But if you give me that, Mom, I really need you to listen. As parents, we need to really wake up and say, okay, what's going on?
I like that. I like that. Girls, do you feel that, again, I want you to remember one thing, that when you're speaking, you're not just speaking for yourselves, you're also speaking on behalf of other young girls or other young children. Do you feel like you have a voice, or you can actually talk to your parents? Yes, good. I knew I was going to come to you. Right, okay.
Like with what you were saying about before, like I feel like it's also hard for like Black and African like people to just get opportunities here in England. Like I remember I was telling my dad like, oh, one day I want to have like my own hair and makeup like salon, and he was telling me you should do that on the side because it's harder for like Black and African people to just get opportunities.
Wow.
It's hard to fit into the industries nowadays with like not a lot of opportunities coming to you. And like obviously as adults, obviously like it's now like you're living like now we're growing up to like get jobs and stuff, but you already have jobs, and it's gonna be like obviously harder for you guys to like be like business owners, or you know have those jobs in like essentially in it's just harder for you guys. So like I feel like it's also understandable. You can't say, oh yeah, like if you have like a lot of white friends saying like, oh yeah, I had this, oh yeah, my parents, this is their job, they make whatever 100 grand a year, more than that, whatever.
Wow.
So it might be like harder for you to like accept the fact that you're not going to get a lot of opportunities as like white friends and stuff like that.
Wow. So here is a girl who has got a dream. You want to become a business woman. You want to open your own makeup, and you want to do your makeup. So you've got very high ambitions. And so you go to your parent and then you say, this is what I want to do. And daddy says, you know what, you might want to do this on the side because, you know, because of who you are, you might not get that opportunity. I think that's a huge statement. It's a huge statement. To me, it tells me that it's sad in a way, because it's like our girls have got so much ambitions, but because of who you are and how you look and the country where you're born, you don't have those opportunities. This is getting interesting. Because of that, we might even go to part 3. So how did that make you feel? Hearing that, how did that make you feel?
So it kind of like, I was like, because that was like the main thing I wanted to do. But then it kind of like put me in reality, like this is what the world is like.
Wow.
You know,
Wow.
Black people are not gonna be as high as white people, like
Oh,
this day and
wow.
age.
Wow.
And like it made me want to like try harder.
Okay.
At the same time, but,
Okay.
like, I wasn't
Okay.
able to say, oh yeah, in this like to hopefully to my future,
Mhm.
in my future family being like,
Yeah.
I came from a place where black people were always degraded and downgraded from
Wow.
years and years ago.
Wow.
And like I made something of myself.
Okay.
And also I do want to do other things, but like I really wanted to do that, and like I still want to do it on the side, but like it kind of just opened my eyes.
Wow. Yeah. I like that because you see, as negative as it sounds, it prepares you to push it harder and to say, look, I can do it. And I remember one of my friends said to me, you know, look, in business, you need to do extra. You know, if another white person does it 100 times, you need to do it 200 times more. And I mean, that's the reality, unfortunately. And we just hope that the world will change. But you know what? Once you have your ambitions and your eyes on it, you can do it, and you're actually going to do that. You know, this is actually interesting. It's actually interesting. Jump in, girls. Jump in as well. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I'm agreeing with what Imani is saying.
Yeah.
And also what you were saying about having a voice.
Yeah.
Like, as much as you feel you do have a voice, but because what Imani is saying, because of opportunities,
Yeah.
Your parents grew up where everyone around them is the same, everyone's job is pretty much the same, but over here, like our eyes are opened.
Yeah. Yeah.
Back home where they came from, they were just told you grow up and you become a wife or whatever you want to do.
Yeah. Yeah.
Here our eyes are open to like job opportunities.
Yes.
So, like
Yeah.
our minds explore.
Yeah.
We
Yeah.
want to do more jobs.
Yeah.
But then we also feel as though, but mum's got work, so I can't tell her about this. Or like you want to like hold back because you know like what you want and stuff like that.
Wow. 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 Yes.
And I just quickly jump onto
Jump in, Tanisha.
like what Anita said, how she said our parents were growing up where everyone was the same.
Okay.
That's like one of the things that like also like you can tell about how like their personal relationship is, because how if our parents were born like where everyone's the same, I don't think they'll go through the same exact things as we've gone through, because everyone's different where we are, and we've kind of grown up to learn that yeah, I've got black skin, they've got white skin, so then maybe I don't know, they kind of have a superior thing, like what Imani was saying, how like we don't get as many job opportunities and stuff. But like thinking back there, she was like how you guys all like you're all equal there because you're all the same. So that's what I was gonna say. That's different.
Okay, so different from Africa compared to here as well, like different. What you're saying is because I was having a conversation with one of the young girls. She said to me, I don't know, you girls can jump in. She said, look, when she finished university, her mom and her granddad have already raised money for her. So she had like where to start. So the mom and the granddad raised money and they bought a flat for her, even when she went to university. So she didn't need to raise any money to pay anything because this was already done by her parents. And then I was having a conversation with a young black girl who said, for us, my mom, she cannot even save, or my dad cannot save money because instead of her putting money aside for me, their money is going back to their parents. So you find that, you know, Pastor Sarah, instead of you putting money for your daughter, okay, I'm investing this for my daughter so that when she's 18, I'm going to buy a car. But guess what? There's your mom in Zimbabwe waiting for that. And I think these are some of the challenges. Talk to me about that. Like, how do you, there's another mom who's listening and they're watching. And, you know, their daughter is saying, okay, my friend, you know, I know Anita, she's got white friends as well, who are on a more advantaged position than herself, like she's saying. What can you say to us as parents, you know, black African parents, in terms of preparing, would say, inheritance for our children? Because I know children is like, you know, that's your department. What can you say to other parents as well, as a mom? Because you're saying, I'm learning a lot. But what can you say to them?
I think as parents, we need to wake up. That's the main word that I can just use for now, to say we need to wake up and like the English people, they say smell the coffee. Because like what Imani was saying as well, like we are like at a disadvantage. We came in this country as parents with nothing. and we are starting to build up.
Yeah.
And as we are building up, let's also build up something for our children. Even the Bible, it says we should leave an inheritance for our children. So we need to start waking up and smelling the coffee and start leaving something for our children. Even if you put like £1 a day, like after 365 days, like that's a lot of money. That's something from the day they are born until maybe they go to college, until maybe they go to uni or whatever. So we need to start doing something towards that, because like I've said, we are learning. We need to start also looking into it, get into courses that do that, and maybe see how you can do it to start saving for your children, so that when they go to uni, they don't have any debt that they are in, because as soon as they come out of uni, they are minors, starting to pay back what has been given to them. So we need to wake up as parents and also copy the culture of the country that we are in. It might not be easy, but we need to try. At least if you do something, it's better to do something than nothing. So
That's good. I hear you saying, okay, don't divert from who you are, but also learn, embrace it for the sake of your children. Again, do something, start saving something. You know, when your children finish school, they actually have got somewhere to start, you know, which is really good. I'm coming to you. I'll come to you girls. What are the things that you, growing up as a young girl in Africa, that you experienced that you would want your girls to experience in this country?
I think what I can remember, especially about Africa, is just things like respect, you know, just respecting your elders and that kind of thing, you know, something that, again, it just gives you that, like, you know, you become a different kind of person, you know, when you know, like, you have to greet other people, like, before they greet you, or just offer to help, you know, this kind of thing. So it's just basic little things that, you know, you just kind of hold on to so much. It just keeps you going, like just some of the values that we grow up with, like I'm not saying everything, because obviously it's just too much, but there's some things that I feel like I teach my girls, you know, to do, like that I learned back in Africa. And it's really amazing, like when other people see them now, they're like, oh, they do that, like, because it's a surprise to them that they were born here, but they're able to do things like that, just like greeting and offering to help people. You know, that's just a, you know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I get you. I get you. There are some things that we teach our children to do because that's what we were taught to do, which can be a disadvantage. I'll say this because I had a situation where my son, every time I would talk to him, I would tell him, I don't know whether you experienced that, Pastor, I said, with our parents, you don't stand up and look at them straight in their eyes and talk to them. And so I used to say to him when he was young, bless my son, look down, because that's respect. So my son used to look down every time when he was talking to me. And then at school, we got called at school. They were like, your son doesn't have confidence. Because every time when you're talking to him, he's looking down. And then I remember looking at his dad and I said, oh my God, we are teaching him to look down because it's respect. But at school, they're saying he doesn't have confidence because every time when we're talking to him, he's looking down. So sometimes I think as parents, we confuse our children, or not confuse the side, because that's what we were taught. You know, respect, the kind of respect can mean something to different people. And you agree, Pastor Sarah, Minister Kath, in Africa, you know, kneel down and when you give them food, do this and do that, to ask that respect. But you come in here, you're telling a child, kneel down. She's like, that's abuse. Why do I have to kneel down? I remember when she was 4 and I said to her, can you go and get me a cup of tea in the kitchen? She said, you've got your own legs. Go and get them yourself. You know, and you'd never do that in Africa, because before you know it, you'll be on the floor. But in this country, if you do that, you know, the social services will come to you. Girls, I want you to jump in as well. Talk about some of the things that, you know, you feel like at home you have to behave this way, But then when you go to school, you have to behave that way. And I know that's one thing, you know, one of the girls have said at school, even their English is completely different. They speak, you know, a kind of different, that's diluted. But when they go to school, like I'll listen to her when I'm talking to her with her friends and I said, calm down, I can hardly hear what you're saying. You know, so there's this kind of, yeah, I want you, yeah, I can see you. You're raising your hand, Kim.
I think like the respect thing is quite hard to like compared to the Zimbabwean culture, because like some of the stuff that we're taught, like the kneeling down, like serving with your right hand, I feel like some of those stuff understand. But after like when you're not actually properly taught, like sometimes you're just told, oh, go kneel down, go do this. It's like you kind of want to know the reason behind it, like you want to understand some of these stuff.
Yes.
And it's like it just puts you in an awkward position sometimes, especially when you're told to do these things. Don't want to see you serving with your left hand, or if someone tells you to do this, you do this. Like sometimes it's like quite confusing. Because you kind of want to understand like the reason, like
why. And you go and give someone with your left hand and they say left hand is disrespect, do this one. So I like, yeah, jump in, Tanisha.
I was gonna say it's so like comparing it, it's so different towards how like a different household, like your white friends, for example. Because when I went to my friend's house, like for example, they put their plates in the dish and walked away. I was like, really? And I was like, I thought, oh, I have to clean. So when I went to her house, I started cleaning my own dishes, and she was like, what are you doing? And I was like, oh yeah, I'm cleaning my dish. But when I'm at home, I have to clean her dish. I have to clean. Even if it's not yours, you clean it, because it's respect. And yeah, if I'm at someone else's house, they just, if they leave their room a mess, or if there's a sock on the floor, it's fine. But if my room has to be clean, because that's how my household is. My household's very different towards how comparison to other people's.
That's good. And then jump in, girls. Yes, Anita.
I'd want to say as well, like what Kim was saying about the culture, kneeling down and stuff. I think it's like confusing.
Okay.
Because you tell me it's my culture and you tell me to kneel down, but to me, my only home is the UK.
Okay.
I don't know
wow.
that it's your culture.
It's
but
not
me,
my culture.
Like,
oh my goodness.
I don't know what it means.
Exactly. Wow.
I just know the
yes.
UK as
Yeah.
my own home.
Yes. Jump in,
I was
girls.
gonna say like with what they were saying, like, you know, the respect. Like I feel like, I don't know if this is the case, but sometimes with like the parents, sometimes it may seem like they've got some sort of like respect reputation that they have to hold. Like say if they have visitors coming, and then we have to kneel down, make sure that, you know, you're washing hands right. But say when they're gone, and you might not do that all the time, you'll be confused, and you're like, why am I kneeling? Do I have to do this? I don't know if you have to do it. Like if they come sometimes, you know, they'll be like, oh, you know, your child does this, and then they're like, yeah, and you're confused. Like, is this meant to be an everyday thing, or is it just like when you're here, and you wonder, like, you start to wonder, do their children do that? Do they think the same? So it's just kind of like, at an early stage, you want to know, you know, why you're doing it, and if it's like, if you have to do it. Like, I think that's just. You know.
So to you, there's no consistency. You wonder when visitors come in and they're telling me kneel down, do this and do that, and then when there are no visitors, you know, you go back to your British child, and then you get very confused. And I can hear you saying that, look, the kneeling down kind of thing, I don't understand what it is. I want to kneel down, but then I'm not saying, but I don't understand it. And Anita is saying, well, don't tell me it's my culture, because it's your culture. You wanted to jump in, yes.
I understand like where they're coming from with the keeping like up, you know. Because I remember like me and my family went to like another family's house to like eat dinner and like talk and stuff. And we went there and we started like greeting in Shona, and you know, and then like I remember the kids, like they didn't come like greet my mom or dad properly. Like they're just like, oh hi. And then when we went to go eat, like we were trying to talk, me and my sisters were trying to like talk to the other kids, because like they're around our age, but like they didn't really like want to speak. They were kind of just on their gadgets. And then like when we started, like me and my sister were doing the dishes afterwards, because you know. And then like the girl's mom was like, oh, go and help me. And she was like, oh yeah, I'm coming. She was just upstairs, and then she was like, oh yeah, I'll come. But like, you know, she didn't end up coming. Me and her were just doing it. And then like we went home, and my dad was like,
you know, this is how, you know, people act like and stuff like that. How did you feel when they were acting like that? And like, I think it's a thing of like also teaching your kids, because you want them to know what the world is like, to know that, oh yeah, if you be kind, things will come to you. If you be respectful, things will come to you. Because I feel like it's not addressed enough that some people can be like really, really like rude. Like obviously they gain that from their parents. You can have really naughty kids in school just because their parents don't say anything. I'll go to school and I'll like try my hardest because my parents push me to, because they want the best for me in life. And yeah.
Okay, I like that. That's good. Thank you, Mani, for that. So let's go on a slightly divert on washing dishes. Right, okay. So as a girl child, Pastor Sarah, Minister Kathy would know that our parents would tell us, do dishes, clean the house. You're preparing yourself to become a mother, to prepare yourself to, you know, to have a clean house. And then here, obviously, you've got dishwashers. This is going to be interesting. You've got dishwashers. Do you feel like if your parents tell you to do some house chores, is it like punishment? Is it the way they speak to you? Or is it the way they speak to you? Or is it to do with the dishes? Jump in, Tanisha.
So, yeah, kind of, for me, it's like, I know, I understand why we do it. We have to keep our house clean and everything. But at the same time, it's like, oh, dishes again. And you know, you just like get sick of it. But I understand, like, I'm not trying to be like, you know, when you say do the dishes, when I like react like, oh, like, I'm not trying to be like, oh, I don't want to do this, it's like a punishment, I hate this. I get it, it's just that it's consistent, and like, I feel like compared to other kids, they don't do it, so you're like, why do I have to do it? And you know, like, it's like, yeah, I'm just comparing it to other kids, to be honest. But like, yes, dishes, like, and cleaning the house, and my mom's got OCD, so she likes,
oh jeez.
So she likes like everything perfect, and like, and like for me and my mom's visions, I feel like we're different. Like if I like leave something, it's like the biggest deal in the world for her. But for me, it's like, oh, it's just a sock or something like that. And I feel like we see it something different because how she was raised up, she has to do this thing, and she was brought up doing it. For me, it's like, oh, she always does it, so why do I have to do it? And it's kind of different to me. So.
I hear you, Tanisha. I didn't realize the OCD was going to come in the video. But that's good. I like that you're being honest. You know, sometimes, you know, yeah, the dishes, you know, it's like, why do we have to do the dishes? And sometimes we have to explain, but you're eating every day. So if you're eating every day, then do the dishes every day. You know, it's one of those basic things. You jump in, you know, Pastor Sarah.
I wanted to say, like, when you said you don't know why you're doing it, because with us when we were growing up, when our parents were saying something, we were taught, like, if I say something, you don't even answer, you don't even ask, you don't. It's a no.
You like, don't say why.
You're told to do the dishes. There is no room for you to say why. You just do the dishes. Yeah. So that's how we grew up, like knowing that if my mom tells me to do dishes, I don't say anything. I'll just go and do the dishes. So like I said, we are also learning. Like now when I ask you to do the dishes, I don't feel like, I don't see any point to explain to you why you're doing the dishes, because that's like in me, like that's my culture, it's already in me. So we are trying to learn. So like even the parents that are listening out there, we will now know like what to do. Like we need to tell you why, because you can't just do something when you don't know why you're doing it. In the culture bit to say it's not my culture, I just expect you to have the same culture as me. It's your mind. Like I would expect you to like we've got the same culture. So it's a learning curve for everyone. Like I'm also learning. The main bit is like, as children, you also need to understand that I am learning. I've never been there before, and I've never had children in this country. I am trying to learn, and as parents, let's put an effort. Let's try to learn, to also understand our children and hear what they are saying. I think if we do that, things will flow.
I like what you're saying, Pastor Sarah, because what you're saying is if I tell you to go and do something and you ask me why, to me that's disrespect, because that's what you growing up, you never used to say anything to your mom, you never even to question anything, you still do it. But then our generation here needs an explanation. And I like as well what she's saying. I think it's going back to communication, sitting down and explaining to our children, explaining to Kim and say, look, if you're kneeling down, it means this. It means, and because what they're saying is like, okay, it's not like we don't want to do it, but explain to me what it means, because it's your culture. And I think sometimes parents, we're guilty of doing that, like imposing things. Look, this is who I am. This is what I grew up because my mother told me this. So you're going to have to do this. And we're not saying our kids are perfect. All they want is to understand, because, they're being raised in a country where it's conflict. At school, there are other things. They're learning other things. At home is other things. I think once we understand that, we'll be able to help our parents, our children more as well. Jump in as well if you want to say something.
I think I like what Pastor Sarah said, that we're learning.
Okay.
We've never been parents before, so again, the communication is very important. And as parents also, we should, like, now we know that we need to explain sometimes why we are doing, we are asking you to do certain things as our children. I'll tell you a little story. I know this lady, right? I work with her. She's got 2 kids. She doesn't know how to cook. The only thing that she said she knows how to cook is just to boil. She doesn't know how to boil an egg.
Wow.
This is a grown person with 2 children. And I said, so how do you manage the dinner time? She said, I'll go to my mother-in-law's house, or I'll wait for my husband to come back from work and cook. That's very inconvenient now. We don't want our children to be like that, that when you have your own family, you don't even know how to boil an egg.
To cook,
So it's like, when we ask you to do things, we are setting up for, when in the future you will be able to handle any situation, you'll be able to work well. Even in the normal workplaces, once you know how to do certain things in the house, once you go to work, you become very proactive kind of person. So it will put you at an advantage as you start going to workplaces, because you're so used to doing things in the house. It's different from somebody who never does anything in the house. When they're in work, those are the people that won't last in workplaces, because they don't know where to even start. So we just literally set you up for
what you've said as well is, and sometimes we think I had a conversation with one of the young girls as well. She's like, you can say to your parents, like, our mother used to tell us cook and clean, and we know that growing up in Africa, like, we would prepare our things from scratch, cook, cut vegetables, meat, because that's what we're going to eat. But now the generation here, you can't tell them prepare, because there's takeaway everywhere. So they can just go and just eat and, order food. So sometimes, explaining to say, I want you to do this to prepare you for that. They're like, look, I'm just going to get a job and I'm just going to order my takeaway, and they don't want to cook. So that's something as well that they do. I know you want to jump in. Yes, go in, man.
A lot of things that African parents or that say to the daughters in general, like, oh yeah, you're a girl, you need to do this, you're a girl, you grow up, you're gonna have to cook, you have to clean. And I feel like that sets on an image like, oh, like, girls, why not boys as well? Why are they not cleaning, why are they not?
Wow. Now I'll let you go, because I can see everyone is nodding. So we're going on the girl child. Yes, go on, Anita.
Agreeing with it, what Imani said, 100%. Especially because I have a sibling and I see him, and because of how they grew up, it's always the girls doing it all. And when I'm doing it and I see my sibling and he's just sat on the sofa whilst I'm cleaning the house, I'm hoovering, it's like, why not him? Because you claim us to be equal. When it comes to girls being paid more, now it's an issue. I feel like if we're gonna say that boys and girls are equal, do it all round, like in the house, in the work, like when you're older as well, like you can't pick and choose when you want something to be like this.
I'm telling you, we are raising we are raising champions here. Like, it's so good. It's so Kim, say something before I say it.
I feel like it's kind of like picking and choosing, like, not like picking and choosing, but like parts of the culture that you want to keep taking and not taking. So like taking these parts and taking all the girls who do the cleaning, like like I sometimes it's just frustrating because you don't understand like why is this division, like why am I being allocated to this chore because I'm a girl and he's been allocated to this because he's a boy. Like what does gender have to do with cleaning the toilet? You know what I mean?
Wow. When everybody uses the toilet, right? Okay. Yes, Tadish.
Yeah, so I'm gonna bring my household into it, to be honest. But also I was gonna say how my mom she's been brought up in Africa, like we said, and how in Africa how it's different, how the men just sit down and wait for the food, and the women cook, clean, do everything, and everything like that. And I feel like it's influenced. I feel like it's influenced my mom to do the same to me, and I'm like, well, there's also someone else that should be doing stuff like that, and it also should be equal. Like in my household, since I've got a brother who's older than me, since I'm not gonna lie, the oldest child mostly has the harder work and has to do stuff. And since he is a boy, since like we're talking about how girls do more, I also do stuff, but he also does stuff because he's older than me. But it's also thinking back to the thing how I only do it because I'm a girl. Like I know it's trying to make it equal, but the stuff that girl has to do, like cook, clean, stuff like that, is different to what he has to do. Like I'm just like,
okay. So are you saying that whatever you're doing, you also want the boy child to do it?
Yes.
Okay.
Equality.
Equality. What do you think about that? I can see Pastor Cyril. What do you think about it? It's a hard pill to take, but
Yeah, it is very hard because like when we were taught, like our parents were mainly focusing on like the girl child doing all the house chores and everything, and then the boys will also focus on something like something that you do outside the house, because like in their time they would look at a girl child just being a housewife, but now time has changed. Girls are now doing what boys are doing, and now boys are doing what girls are doing. So like it's like I keep on saying, it's a learning curve. We are learning, we're trying to get things equal. Like in my house, like no one does things that you say this is for boys, this is for girls. I treat them equal. Like my children, they got they take turns to do the dishes. Yes. Some does dishes as well.
Okay.
So, and he does the house cleaning and everything. So I try by all means to make them equal. They want to.
Yeah. Again, it's going back to how we were raised. Yeah. You know, we were as girls, we were raised on, we were raised to prepare for marriage. Yeah. Get yourself prepared. Your husband needs your house clean. Your husband wants you to cook. So you find that how we were raised as a girl child is completely different from obviously how we are raising you. Because for the boys were raised to, get prepared for work, because you're going to work for your woman who will provide for your family. So it's completely different. But what you're saying here is like, look, in the UK here, it's equal. We're all working, yes, Kim, jump in.
Yeah, and I just want to see like the way how you guys were like brought up. It's like now projecting onto us.
Wow.
Like, now we're seeing like for our kids, we wouldn't want our kids to feel like that.
Wow.
So like we're at this young age, but we're already thinking for our own kids, we wouldn't want them to feel like they're different to their brother,
wow,
to their other sibling. Like,
wow.
I feel like it's kind of sad that I've already decided that like I wouldn't want my child to do this and this.
Wow.
Like,
Wow.
the way that I was.
So you're seeing some of the things that your parents are telling you, but you're like, I don't want this for my children. And I like what you say, that we are projecting everything that happened to us on our children. So that's a really, really good point.
I think that's a very good point.
Yes.
As well.
Yeah.
It's going to, like, what we are trying to fight, you will not fight it anymore, because we're trying to push the girl child to say the girl child should also have the same things as the boy child. So I think from the next generations coming on, things will be fine.
Yes. It
was lean like before, but I was gonna say like the equality, like it wasn't just for cleaning. It's not just about the girl had to do all the cleaning and the cooking. I'm not trying to say just about that. It also goes into stuff like how like respect is distributed like to the girl and to the boy. Like how girls have to respect like boys, like men, like especially like older people, but like I feel like men get the more respect as well
than women.
Wow. how it gets out, like when you're raised, like the boys do different stuff, and this is kind of sexist, but like the boy does, for example, football. The boy does football, and the girl just does like singing or acting, like how feminist, like how more it's towards the girl. Even like that's how you're raised up. Even like you like, oh, you're a girl, you should be doing this, and how you're a boy, you should be doing that. I feel like that's how our parents' culture was before, like when they were there, and the girls, that's why the girls stick to like hairdressing and stuff like that, and the boys go to work on like farms and stuff like that. That's
Okay. So from there as well, like you find that men are more respected more than women.
Yeah.
Okay, jump in, Tammy.
I wanted to say, this is going back to like, you know, like about the sons and stuff like that. I was just thinking, like say, as a mother, like say you might be able to see, like say how the husband might not be doing as much, and it might frustrate you. I don't know, because I'm not a mother, but it might frustrate you, and you might feel like it might stress you. And like if you had a son, you wouldn't want your son to treat their wife like that, because you know how it feels.
Wow.
And you know you wouldn't want that on them.
Wow.
And just like, I feel like for that you should maybe teach your son just to make sure, so that you don't want them to treat like, you know, their future wife like that, your daughter-in-law, because you'd see how they're struggling and you wouldn't want that.
Come on, these girls are something else. I am learning. Yes, you want to say something, Anita?
I agree with what Tammy was saying about, like, as much as the mom could say that she is learning, you've got to project that on both sides of the parents to show that together that they are actually doing something.
Okay.
Like Tammy was saying, like, just because, like, for example, your mom has changed, your dad has still got that. I'm not trying to,
I know what you
but I'm just saying, but if
Yes.
like just showing that the mum and dad are both a unit and they're actually trying to do something,
Yeah.
it helps a lot more than if it's just one parent, because I can then just say, well, mum said I could do it, so whatever.
Yeah.
But I think if you do show that you are together and that
Wow.
you are both trying,
Wow.
like it makes so much more like difference. And
You-
then I actually feel
You are, listen, the wisdom that's coming out of these young girls is just something else. Because as parents, we can say one thing, but doing the other thing. And I tell you what, our kids, these ones were very intelligent. They're watching what we are doing more than what we are saying. Because you can tell them do this, but they are actually watching, no, but what mom and dad are doing is completely different. And then sometimes you can wonder, why are they reacting like that? Because what you're saying and what you're doing are two completely different things. I am learning. This is so good. This is so good. Yes, I'll come to you, Imani, and then I'll come to you, Kim.
Okay, so I just wanted to say about what Tammy was saying about like mums like with sons who actually teach them clean, you know, and maybe how to cook. It's like really nice because it's showing that everyone in the world should be able to, you know, at least help around, and it shouldn't just be like the mums or like the women. And like it like really makes me upset when I see like mums running around having to clean, having to cook, get the kids ready for school, go to work, and then seeing like the dads being like, oh yeah,
Oh, wow.
like, oh yeah, you know where the clean clothes or whatever. It's just like kind of
Yeah, okay. So you're already seeing those things and you're like, look, I don't really want to see this. Oh my God, I don't know what we're going to go with this topic. Yes, I'll let you speak.
I just want to say something real quick. Relating back to Anita's point of the union, like being told, oh, go ask your mom, or go ask your dad, and like different opinions from each adult. It's just too confusing, because then after, if you feel like if you go with one parent, it's as if you're taking someone's side.
Wow.
When they come together, they're both confused, like, I thought you said this, I thought you said that. After you're just there, like, confused.
Wow. You're bringing so many interesting topics, you know, and sometimes as parents, we are doing this not knowing we're confusing our kids. You know, she'll come to you and say, Mommy, I want this, and you're like, go to your dad. And then she go to dad is like, go to your mom. That's what Kim is saying. And then at the end of the day, you actually causing confusion. And now kids are like, I don't know if I go with this. You know, my dad might say you're taking your mom's side or your daddy's side. It's, you know what, I think like what Pastor Sarah, Minister Kath have said, we are learning, and I hope the parents are actually learning and listening. anything that you want to say before we close? Any banning thing? Yeah, Tanisha?
I was gonna say how one time me and my mom were in the car and we were on the way to some place, and she asked me, just talk to me like I'm your therapist. And I told like about our family, and I told her basically, I'm not trying to say everyone's being selfish or mean, but I feel like everyone, like, they're actually being selfish, but they're not being like selfish rudely. They're just thinking about themselves and like how it's not affecting someone else. Like if they do something, it's not affecting someone else.
Okay.
And we were talking about how like I feel like when someone says something or does something, they don't know what effect it has on someone else, and if they do something that they don't know what's gonna happen with it, it's like kind of like mismatching, and you don't know how to feel because you don't know if it's affecting someone else.
Okay, so it's like, okay, parents can make decisions, or they can end up in a situation where they do not actually understand that not only is it affecting them, but it's also affecting the children. And so it's important to also realize that there are some things, decisions that we make as parents that are also having that impact on our children. That's a good point. Thank you for that, Tanisha. Yes, Kim. That's okay.
Back to Tanisha about the so like the reaction type thing, like when you're speaking to your parents and you're restricting yourself because you don't want like the reaction that you're kind of expecting, and like it's about how much a parent's reaction can even affect you. Like if I was to ask my parents something and then the way they'd respond back, I'd be like, wow, really? Okay. And then I'd just be like, it'll just ruin your mood. Sometimes it can put you in a better mood. Like I think sometimes like they don't realize how much even their attitude or the way they are during that day can like really rub off on you, like in the morning on the way to school, or like in the morning on the way to church. Like when you're moved to church, when you arrive and like got told off in the car or something, for example, then you come and like you're annoyed and you're like, oh, whatever.
Okay, so as parents, we have to be careful how we react to our children. You can have an argument, whether it's between husband and wife, and maybe, and then you project it on your kids. And the kids, bless them, they've done nothing wrong, but they're actually getting it, they're actually getting all the reaction, the frustration and the anger. And it's what we are doing as parents that we do not know. And sometimes is what they say, hurting people hurt other people. And sometimes you'll be so hurting that you can end up hurting other people. But the unfortunate part now is we're actually hurting our kids without realizing it. Yes, Tanisha?
Yeah, and also even if it doesn't even involve you, if you hear an argument that's going down, like if you're upstairs and there's like an argument downstairs, and you can still feel like, or something's wrong with the family, like, is it my fault? Even though you might have not done anything wrong, you just feel like, or like it really affects you, even if you've got nothing to do with it. If there's an argument downstairs that evolves around the family, and since you're part of the family, you think, oh, I could have done something wrong, and that also affects
you. That can affect your mental health as well. I like that. And it's because sometimes when parents are arguing, sometimes all they're doing is they're just screaming at each other and shouting, and sometimes not realizing and taking notice that the children are actually being affected. Like what we said, what our children grew up seeing, they'll end up being exactly like that. Yes. Wow. This has been amazing. I think we took this conversation to another level. And I know that the men and the boys that are listening, they'll be like, oh, I hope we're not going to bring the men and the boys here. They might come in. But I tell you what, this has been really, really interesting. And I know, thank you, Minister Kat, thank you, Pastor Sid. I know we have been learning a lot. And honestly, I think the conversation, things that are coming out of your mouth is just so big. It's so big sometimes. Even myself, I didn't know how to respond or what to say, because I'm like, wow, these are the things that you're going through. And thank you so much again for being, I wouldn't say vulnerable, but for being open and honest. And like I said last time, you're not just helping yourselves, but you're also helping other young girls, other parents that are listening, because like what Pastor Sarah have said, we have to listen. When our children speak, we have to listen. We're not just going to say, this is who I am. I was raised like this. I'm an African woman. When we do that, we're actually making our parents really, really suffer. But thank you so much, girls, for coming in, for joining me at this table talk. I have a surprise for you that I just wanted to say thank you for coming to our table talk. I'll give you this. Thank you. And you can You can wear your hats. Thank you very much. Thank you for coming. It's been amazing. You'll say, no, thank you very much. Thank you, Pastor Sarah. Thank you, Minister Keith, and thank you very much, girls. Thank you. And to those that are listening, I hope you have been listening, and I hope you have been learning what the girls are saying here to those parents. They're saying, listen, you know what it means to kneel down, but I don't. Not that I don't want to kneel down, but help me to understand your culture. What they're saying again is like, look, if I'm seeing my mom doing all sorts of things and I don't see my dad doing this, it's actually causing confusion. What they're saying is like what they said last time, look, I also want to look good, I want to dress well, but if you don't have the money, explain to me in a way that I do understand. What they're saying, I am a child, but I also want you to be conscious of my feelings. I also want you to know and understand this as a child. It's affecting me. Your arguments in the house, or you not loving my mom, or you not loving my dad, it's actually affecting me. And our kids are saying, look, as much as you're telling us something different, but what we are seeing is completely different. So you are confusing us, and we want to learn, and we want you to understand. And you know what? I hope you have been learning a lot, because this conversation will help you at home to become a better mom, to become a better dad. And to those young girls that also been listening, I hope you also be learning from the mothers that were saying, look, we want to learn, we want to hear what you're saying, communicate with us in a way that we understand. Thank you so much for joining us. This has been one interesting, very educational conversation, and thank you so much for joining us. I hope you have been empowered, I hope you have been encouraged, and I hope you change, and after listening to this video you'll be able to change for your sake, for your relationship, as well as for your relationship for the sake of your children. So from myself here at Women Today, thank you so much.